As Europe grapples with a migration crisis, some of its leaders are turning to a small country on the southeastern Balkan Peninsula to outsource immigration. With Albania emerging as a key EU and NATO partner, we traveled to Tirana to speak with Prime Minister Edi Rama.
It's very clear that Europe has become hostage of nationalisms.
Hello, I'm Ghida Fakhry. Welcome to Bigger Than Five. Today, we spotlight a small nation drawing big power interest. Once under Ottoman rule for nearly 5 centuries, Albania, a former communist state, is now being courted by Western European leaders. Albania's socialist Prime Minister Edi Rama recently struck a 5-year deal with Italy's far-right government to hold and process up to 36,000 asylum seekers annually, intercepted at sea on boats bound for the Italian coast, sparking human rights criticism. Prime Minister Rama insists it's a one-off arrangement, citing the country's special relationship with Italy. Previously, his government rejected a request by the UK and other European nations to transfer migrants to Albania. As it pursues EU membership, the country, which has been a staunch NATO member since 2009, recently reopened a renovated Soviet-era airbase for use by the military alliance to counter what the Albanian government describes as the neo-imperialist ambitions of the Russian Federation. In a moment, my interview with Prime Minister Edi Rama, but first, a look at Albania's rising influence and strategic alliances.
What a historic moment. Today, Albania and North Macedonia are opening the accession negotiations to the European Union.
This is, and will continue to be, one of our most positive and fruitful partnerships.
Albania is really a highly valued ally.
This partnership between our two countries is stronger than it's ever been.
Yes, there is a clear, real danger for the Western Balkans because of Russia's aggression.
So, where does Albania's Prime Minister see his country's future within the increasingly tense global geopolitical landscape? I traveled to the Albanian capital, Tirana, to find out. Prime Minister Rama, you're a longtime political leader. You're also a former basketball player, a painter, a university lecturer, a writer. You're also the only Albanian Prime Minister to have served 3 consecutive terms in office. Since 2013, I think it's fair to say that you're quite literally a towering figure over a small nation in a volatile region. A region that has a complex history. It lived for centuries under Ottoman rule and then decades under communism, and under your leadership over the last decade, there's been a decisive turn west. Would you agree that Albania today, though, is still a country trying to find its footing, its balance between its ancient civilization and its more modern aspirations?
I don't think it's fair to say that under my term, Albania turned decisively west, because Albanians never had the chance to choose for centuries, but they always wanted west. And a famous poet of our Renaissance wrote a poem that has become a bit the anthem of us towards West, where he says, the sun sets where it rises, meaning West. And first time we had the chance to choose was when the people went in the streets. They finally got rid of very ruthless communist regime. And the slogan of that manifestation that was not organized by anyone was we want Albania as Europe.
You say you want Albania to be in Europe, in the EU. Do you believe that the EU feels equally positive about taking Albania in?
All Albanians feel in the same way. They want Albania to be part of Europe and to be anchored in Europe. And that's why we never had, after the fall of a regime, nor a communist party, either a party or force or movement or whatever that would claim the contrary or that would propagate Eurosceptic views.
It has been a slow process, though.
It has been a very slow process.
There's been quite a few mixed signals. Ursula von der Leyen came here to Albania and said that you were on track and it was just a matter of time. Do you believe those words? Are they empty promises?
I believe Ursula, and credit to her, with her coming at the top of the Commission, something important changed when it comes to us. Because don't forget, before that, there was a commission that started by saying no enlargement, and that, yes, continued to say we need you, but never making an extra step to help us to get there. So, yes, I believe, and not just I believe, because in that sense, we are blind believers. We are in blind love with Europe. So blind love has not only reasons, but has also something else that is difficult to explain.
But the question again is it mutual blind love? Because, as I say, there have been mixed signals. On the one hand, we hear that you're on track. On the other, the EU just released recently a report in which it looked at the progress made so far by Albania to meet some of the key criteria for EU membership. It found this, that Albania needs more stable political institutions and a strong political system to withstand challenges and crises. It also pointed to the rule of law. Albania ranked 91 out of 142 on the Rule of Law Index in 2023. The European Commission has said that more needs to be done to tackle high-level corruption. So just how confident are you that you're able to overcome these hurdles?
First of all, no. Their love for us is not blind. Ours for them, yes. Once upon a time, when we were all engulfed in this region under the very heavy pressure of nationalisms, and when Europe was far from looking as a potential hostage of nationalisms, we always believed that this is the place to keep yourself safe for generations from war and nationalism. Now, it's very clear that Europe has become hostage of nationalisms. In what sense? In the sense that it doesn't really matter if nationalistic movements have taken over everywhere, but everywhere they exist and everywhere they influence a pressure. Look what happened with the many very prestigious socialist parties in Europe. For example, the French Socialist Party. They practically disappeared. Why? Because they fought for it and they started to play the game of the right when it came to migration issues and so on and so further. So this is one side of the story. The other side of the story is, yes, they are right. We need to do more. For sure, we need to do more. There is no doubt. And that's why I believe that the European Union is a bless because it's the most amazing source of knowledge about how to build institutions, how to build a functioning democracy. So we need to build many things from scratch.
But this
and
will
Europe,
take time.
Europe is fundamental in that. Yes, this has taken time. It will take some more time. But with the new technology, with the digitalization, with the artificial intelligence, we can make an exponential progress that can make sure that many of the things that otherwise would have been solved with a lot of time can be solved with a very short time.
But Prime Minister, how do you do this when you know extremely well there has been a massive brain drain in the region as a whole, particularly in Albania? How do you implement these wonderful notions of investing in technology when your own youth doesn't seem to have faith in democracy in this country,
Listen,
in the economic opportunities?
I understand. I don't see this period in history as something unique or something, tragic. It's a period in history that we have to also go through like others went before. So moving from your country, emigrating, making other experiences is something that is natural. Number two, we come from a bunker, so from a dictatorship where leaving the country was not possible, and where trying to leave the country was high treason, punished by death. So I don't see this as a tragic thing.
71% of young Albanians are considering emigration. Over the last 4 years alone, studies have shown that the youth population in Albania decreased by some 2.5%. More than 1.6 million Albanians today live abroad. That's more than half Albania's population of 2.8 million.
I know all this, and I'm not.
But how concerning is it?
I'm not contradicting that, but I'm telling something else. I'm saying, first of all, this is not tragic. This is what it is, and it's very, very, logically explicable because we are free. We live in a free world, finally. People have the right to move.
If Albania were to join the European Union, it would become the first Muslim majority nation to do so.
It doesn't mean anything.
According to the last census, over 60% of Albanians identify as Muslim, even though most of them are secular.
But it doesn't mean anything. We are not Muslims or Christians or Catholics or Orthodox or Sunnis or whatever. We are Europeans first and then all the rest.
Albania has strong ties with the US. Recently, Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was here. He called Albanians the most important and strategic of friends. How mutually beneficial is this relationship for you?
From the quality of this friendship, I would say a lot.
How much do you think this strategic relationship has to do with Russia, with what some consider the threat of Russia wanting to extend its hegemony over the region?
Russia cannot extend any hegemony in Albania because in Albania, long before Russia became a problem from everyone else, it was not a country that we would see as a partner. We had no problems with them, but we didn't have any appetite to get closer to them.
Do you feel threatened by Russia today?
No. Albania? Threatened by Russia? No. Why?
You don't feel that Russia is actually a threat to Albania and to the wider region?
No, the region is something else. So yes, Russia is a threat because it's a threat, first of all, because of its own model. So it's a different model of society, of states.
Why should that be threatening, though?
Because it's a model that doesn't fit with the democratic model of the European Union family.
I ask you this in light of the recent decision to reopen the Kuchova base, 80 kilometers from Tirana, which will serve as a major hub for NATO's aircraft. What was the reason behind it if you feel that Russia doesn't really pose any threat?
When it comes to the military side, Russia is a threat to Europe. Yes, it's a threat to Europe. I don't see Russia aggressing Europe militarily as a whole, but it's a threat to all we stand for and all we believe in.
Do you agree with those who see the Ukraine war as a proxy war between the United States and NATO on the one hand and Russia on the other?
I think it's a very simple thing. Ask the Ukrainians. Ask the Ukrainians and put yourself in their shoes. It's a war of resistance of a sovereign nation that has been aggressed militarily against every sense of the world we believe in, and let alone international law, let alone this and let alone that. So it's too easy to put it like that.
Sure, but by enhancing NATO's presence in the region, would you be making the region more or less safe and secure and prone to Russia's influence? So by enhancing NATO's presence, which you have now with the reopening of the base.
100% more secure. Of course more secure. What do you mean? Of course.
How is it more secure?
Of course. Much more secure.
You say more secure, yet you've got a raging war in Ukraine that
Yes.
some people at least pin down to NATO's eastward expansion.
There is nothing that can justify a war of aggression, in my view. Nothing.
You've been courted by some nations when it comes to immigration and the outsourcing of their immigration problems. You've accepted an offer from Italy.
We didn't accept an offer, we accepted a request.
A request from Italy
It's a different thing.
You've accepted a request from Italy to allow Italy to build 2 detention centers here in Albania.
Not detention, hospitality.
Hospitality centers, you call them.
It's what they are called in the European Union legislation.
But these essentially will be centers that are used by an EU country, which is a first, to process would-be migrants intercepted at sea. You said that the problem of immigration should not be externalized. It should not be transferred to other countries. But isn't that exactly what's going on here?
No. First of all, we are not EU, but we are we are Europe. Second, we are not only neighbors, divided by sea, but we are very close from thousands of years of history with Italy. And in a sense, Italy for us is Albania, and Albania for Italy is Italy. So this is how it works. Then Italy has done a lot for us. So it's a very special relation. And we have a lot of Albanians living in Italy, and it's like home. So what they've asked is simply to process here migrants that come at Italy's shore. And we said, yes, it's a one-off for Albania, but maybe other countries can do with other countries in the region. But still, this is a European thing. And but it's not the solution.
You say it's not the solution, yet you've accepted the request.
Of course.
And you've been heavily criticized by human rights organizations.
Friends are there to help. Friends are there to be there when you are in trouble, not when you are shining.
But is it worth the price that you pay when it comes to the heavy criticism you faced in terms of human rights organizations saying that it will violate migrants' human rights, that it could lead to arbitrary detention? Some have gone as far as to say this could lead to a Guantanamo-style detention center.
Listen, When I hear this kind of things, I feel very sorry for the victims of Guantanamo. It's disrespectful towards them. It's really disrespectful towards the real victims, towards the real tortured people. It's a bit too much. Yes? Are there concerns? Yes, of course there are concerns.
Prime Minister, I want to talk to you about another crisis around the world, which is the ongoing Israeli war on Gaza. It has exposed blatant double standards and a level of hypocrisy in the West that many people didn't think possible. Do you agree that Western values have been exposed in an unprecedented way?
Listen, it's a very difficult question for me, very difficult. Because I know what it is to live in a very ruthless dictatorship. I know it. So when it comes to dictatorships, of the ruthlessness and of the deranged minds, like Hamas, then everything else becomes very difficult to deal with, because what you do. But
can you say that when there's been a decades-old military occupation?
Listen, again, it's very difficult for me. I accept. So our position has been always ceasefire, has been always dialogue, has been always this, has been always that. And they are really the main victims of politics that has been too much focused on other things, but not on their own life, on their own future.
But why is it difficult?
Because nor the ones and neither the others, starting with Hamas, has cared about their own life, their own future.
And we heard you condemn Hamas, but why is it difficult to condemn the Israeli slaughter of civilians? I know you've been cultivating close ties with Israel, but why is it difficult to condemn?
It's not about cultivating.
actions?
It's not about cultivating the close ties. Of course, we have close ties with Israel, but we have close ties with the Arab world as well.
If the ICC issues an arrest warrant for the Israeli Prime Minister, will Albania enforce it?
Listen, I find absolutely, first of all, as far as we have agreed about having this body of justice, there are decisions that we may like or we may not like, but they are decisions of a body of justice we have agreed. But on the other hand, if you ask me personally, I find it absolutely outrageous.
If the ICC does issue an arrest warrant for Netanyahu,
and
if he did visit Albania, would you have to arrest him?
Listen, in Albania, we have a religion above all religions. Hospitality, based on the paragraph written in stone centuries ago. The house of the Albanian is of God and the guest. And as far as the guest is within the perimeter of your property, even if he is your enemy, he's under your protection.
What role do you see finally for Albania, both regionally and on the global stage? You're a painter. What kind of image would you paint of Albania if you look toward the future?
Albania, I would see Albania as a shining, happy, and sometimes chaotic Italy, a little Italy. If Albania will be a little Italy, it will be the best.
And do you see yourself in office in 2 years from now? There are parliamentary elections in 2025. Despite the challenges, your Socialist Party is still favored to win. Do you see yourself Prime Minister for a fourth consecutive term?
I like to contemplate the stars, but I'm not good in reading them.
Would you like to stay in power?
So I don't know.
Have you had enough, or would you like to continue?
No, I do this job. It's not a job for me. It's a mission. It's a passion. It's part of who I am, with the fire within. So as far as I feel the fire, it's not an issue of being tired or saying enough. But you never know when the fire is gone. So that's why I say, let's see.
Prime Minister Edi Rama, thank you so much for being with me. For centuries, Albania has been at the center of great power rivalries, striving to find its footing. Since the fall of the Soviet Union in the early 90s, it has turned decisively west. While EU membership is a key goal, it remains distant. As a committed NATO member, Albania is punching above its weight, earning Washington's praise and Moscow's ire for its strong support of Ukraine. Prime Minister Rama has embraced a strategic partnership with the US while tying his country's future to Europe's, despite the growing nationalism of the European Union's more powerful member states, which he once accused of holding his nation's path to EU membership hostage. From me, Ghida Fakhry, and the rest of the team, thanks for watching.